Hello, today I'd like to show you how to do another of the basic embroidery stitches that I use when I'm doing redwork stitchery. So I've got all my little tools here. I have a water erasable marking pen to mark any designs. I've got my scissors, I use an embroidery needle, I've got some stranded cotton, and today I'm just working on a sample, so I'll just show you. And I have got a stabilizer behind my fabric that I'm embroidering onto, and I have shown you how to set up to do this redwork stitchery in a previous quilting tips and techniques video, and it was number 020. So in case you're wanting to look at that, that would be your reference, video 020. So today I'm just going to show you how to do a back stitch, which is a stitch I'm not actually very good at, but it is a very useful stitch. It's a stitch I have used in the past when I haven't been able to use a sewing machine for seams and things. It's a very strong stitch because it kind of goes over itself, but it's also great for outlining for this sort of embroidery. So initially you would bring your thread up, and I just start with a little knot on the back, and the stabilizer helps cover anything like that. And as the name implies, you're working backwards. So I've come up, as you can see, a little bit away from my previous stitch, a stitch distance away. So if you were just starting out, you would just put your first needle that I'm just about to put down a stitch distance away from where your thread has come up, because that's the stitch you're creating on top. So I'm going to put my needle down into that previous stitch, or a stitch distance away from the thread, and I'm going to bring it back up again a stitch distance in front of that thread, so the equal distance either side of where your thread is. Your needle goes in and comes out, and then I'm just going to pull that through, and that's going to create that stitch. And again, so you can go back into that hole that you've made with that previous stitch and come up again a stitch distance away. And as you can see, I'm a little bit wonky, but I'm sure I'll get going soon. So this is a great stitch. As I said, you can use it for hand sewing seams and things where you're looking for some extra strength, and you can use it for this sort of thing. I'm using 2 strands of the embroidery thread, and it gives you a very nice line that you can use in simple embroidery, or of course in more complicated embroidery, but it's the simple that I'm doing with the redwork. So that just gives you an idea how to do the back stitch. I have done a stitch guide of the stitches that I commonly use in the redwork stitching that I do, and this is available on my website GourmetQuilter.com as a free download, and it's got several stitches on there that are fairly simple embroidery stitches, but the ones that I usually use when I'm doing redwork stitchery. Now I'll just show you a quilt where some outlining has been done over the quilt. This is also one of my patterns. This one is called Ted and Dog, and they're having a great fun. Ted and Dog are great friends. This is also available as a purchase and download on my website. And you can see all the outline stitching, all the wording, everything has been done on this quilt, which is not, of course, red, it's blue, in back stitch. So all of these stitches have been stitched in a back stitch, which is great. I didn't actually do this. A friend of mine, Lenore, did this quilt. She's much better at back stitch than I am. So I have done the pattern for this quilt, and just so that you can see it quickly, it's shown in red. This is my Ted and Dog pattern. But I mostly just wanted to show you how to do the stitching and to give you an example of how the back stitch might be used for that sort of stitchery. Thank you.